Coach Herm Edwards brought to you by McLean Food Service. And Coach, we got to start with Stuart Scott passing yesterday at the age of 49 because of cancer. Your thoughts going through your mind when you saw that headline yesterday morning?
Well, obviously, he's a teammate, a guy that I've known for quite some time, and when you think about Stuart Scott, a couple things come to mind. He was a guy that always pushed the envelope. I think he was a new voice at Sports Center when he came here in 1996, and really talked about sports in a different way. And I thought it was a game breaker. His way of making comments on highlights, I think, took everyone by surprise, and you became a fan of him because you sat around the TV wondering what is he going to say. It was more about his sayings and all that. But if you knew Stuart Scott, he was a man of great faith. He was a great father, and I think the one thing that I take away from it is this: is that he was battling this cancer thing, and we all in our lifetime have situations that aren't good. And we use those sometimes to not be at our best when we're supposed to be. And Stuart Scott never allowed that to happen when he came to work. And you always saw Stuart Scott when the red light came on, the guy that had all the unique sayings and the way he would go about doing his business. And I think if we can learn something from that, we should all always understand that we have to deal with situations in our life sometimes that we have no control over, but when it's about doing our job and doing it the right way, we have to be positive and have energy, and Stuart Scott presented that every time he came on TV.
Very well said. Coach Herm Edwards, thanks to McLean Food Service with Armen and Levack on 104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports.
Yeah, again, Coach, sorry for your loss. We know you knew him well. Hey, let's talk some football. Yesterday, the big controversial play, 8:25 left, Cowboys, rookie linebacker Anthony Hitchens, originally flagged for pass interference, then it picked up. When you first saw the play, what went through your mind?
Well, when I first saw the play, bang, bang play, you think, it's a good call. And then you start looking at it and go, I don't know. And I think there was a couple things when you look at this play. Now, holding should have been called earlier because he actually got grabbed before he ran up the field. The guy grabbed around his waist. That wasn't called. And then the next call should have been on Dez Bryant, basically coming on the field arguing with the ref. That wasn't called as well. But the pass interference, to me, I don't really know that. I think the more I looked at the thing and broke it down, it looked to me that the ball was underthrown. And I think a lot of people looked at he didn't turn his head to play the ball. Well, you can face guard in professional football. You don't have to turn your head. Now, you don't coach that. You prefer to turn your head. But the ball being underthrown and the tight end falling down, now, he didn't push him down. He just he was falling down. It looks like the linebacker actually hit him and pushed him down, but that really didn't take place. So, in my opinion, people say, "Well, I'm a defensive guy." I don't know. Yeah, I'm a defensive guy, but I'm just seeing what my eyes tell me is that it didn't need to be called. Now, those other things should have been called earlier. As I said, the holding. Yeah, I get that part, and I get the Dez Bryant being on the field. That should have been called, but it wasn't. So eventually, they picked it all up, and we have to move on.
Is it fair to say it could have been called either way?
Well, I just tell you my opinion. I just told you what should have been called.
Yeah.
Holding, okay. That took place before he hit the ground. That took place off the line of scrimmage. And the Dez Bryant, that should have been called. The PI, I don't agree with.
Cool.
And, Coach, the entire way that it was handled, from the flag being thrown, they announce the penalty, and then he picks it up and does not give an explanation, that's not normal either. That's something different that I don't remember seeing before, where he just picks it up after he had already announced it, correct?
Well, yeah, but yeah. And I think what we're saying is this was the play that really, I don't know, is this the play that turned the game for the Dallas Cowboys? I don't know that. I still think with all that being said, the Detroit Lions still had the ability to stop them. And at the end, the Detroit Lions had the ball to go down there and, to just try to score and beat them. So, we look at games, and we're going to make this out of a big deal, and it is a big deal because it's a foul, and everyone watched it, and there's opinion about it. And that's the sad part about it, because it was a really good football game, and we're talking about a play rather than the game. And this is what the league's going to have to deal with, and this is why the rule that Coach Belichick thought about as the coach can maybe challenge anything he wants. Has 3 challenges. This might be talked about on the offseason.
Coach Herm Edwards with Armen Levack every Monday at 5:15 throughout the entire postseason, brought to you by McLean Food Service. And Coach, Romo 5-0 in December and the playoffs this year. Is he doing enough to dispel those December and January doubts that we've had in the past of Romo?
Well, I think this is a way to obviously present his legacy in a different vein. And when you win playoff games, and this is how these quarterbacks are viewed, is Super Bowls and how they play in playoffs, not so much how they play in the regular season. And a win for him yesterday was big, especially in the waning moments when he had to take the team down there. And I thought the big fourth down call was a great call. And he throws it to Witten, and they continue to move the ball. And then he makes another big time throw there to Williams at the end to score the touchdown. So yeah, it's a part of Tony Romo's legacy, and it's a good one for him.
Coach, another big game coming up now. Colts at Denver. Is this the most vulnerable the Broncos have ever been?
Well, I don't know that. I think the Broncos are a little bit different team than they were earlier in the season, and I think it was done intentionally because of the fact that they knew in the playoffs that you eventually have to become balanced, and this is why they start running the ball more. I do think that they're better on defense than they were last year. They run the ball a lot better than they did earlier in the season. So I think we think they're vulnerable because we watched Peyton Manning the last couple of weeks and said, well, he can't throw it as well as he did before. He's not throwing it 4 times. He's throwing it 20 times. Well, he's rested about 10 days. And so I do think that this game they're about to play, we'll be shocked to see how Peyton Manning plays. And I think he's going to play really good, by the way.
Good stuff. Coach Herm Edwards with Armen and Levack on 104.5. The team brought to you by McLean Food Service. Coach Herm, speaking of quarterbacks, Andrew Luck yesterday, obviously looking pretty good with the Colts. Was this one of the best overall games we've seen from Andrew Luck? Is this guy growing up in front of our eyes?
Well, in the playoffs, this is his best playoff game. As you know, he's thrown 8 interceptions in the playoffs, more than any quarterback has. And I think he learned a valuable lesson yesterday, and this is his maturity. You never go broke taking a profit. And with that being said, he threw it to the back 10 times. He checked it down. So he was very, very cautious about not throwing interceptions. This is a team that likes to throw the ball down the field vertically. Now, T.Y. Hilton dropped a couple early, but I thought his ability to stay ahead of the train, to not delay the train. In other words, you don't go broke by making a profit. Throw it to the back, let him run for 5 or 6 yards. Get yourself in the 2nd and 4s. He did that all day. His leading receiver actually was the back, Herm. He got 10 balls. So I think going forward, that was something good to see.
Coach, the Cowboys in the second round of the playoffs, they go to Lambeau Field. You have the best team on the road against the best team at home. Which one of those 2 factors win out in this situation?
Well, if I knew that, I'd bet a lot of money. I don't know that. I don't think anybody knows that. This is why you play. I mean, that's what they told me. This is why you play the game. This is why they keep score. This is why we love talking about it. I think you got 2 excellent football teams. They have strengths on offense with, obviously, dynamic quarterbacks. Defensively, I think when they play with leads, they're better. Green Bay has the Achilles heel of, obviously, stopping the run. And the Dallas' strong suit is running the football. On the flip side of it, Aaron Rodgers can extend plays. He has a dynamic trio of receivers. When you think about Cobb and Nelson, they seem to make big plays, and he can extend plays. And the Dallas Cowboys, obviously, are a team that defensively, they're in the middle of the pack. Not great by any stretch of imagination. You can move the ball on them. We saw that yesterday. So this is what's intriguing about this game, all these factors.
Coach, the Cardinals only able to muster 78 yards on offense. Did Bruce Arians just finally run out of depth on the depth chart?
Well, very difficult. You're playing with the fourth-team quarterback. Everybody keeps saying it's the third, but really it's the fourth. I mean, Logan Thomas was the third. I mean, this kid, Lindley, was actually in San Diego. And we lose sight of that. He wasn't even on their team. And I think it was one of those games where going in, it was very difficult. He couldn't run it against a pretty good defense, by the way. Carolina Panthers, last 5 games, counting this playoff games, only giving up 12 points a game. So, and they're running the ball very well, about 200 yards with Cam Newton involved in his running attack. And so it was a game that was going to be difficult. They've got the ability to play good defense, to take the run away from him. You can't run it anyway, Arizona. So now he's vulnerable on the road. They were in a no-win situation. A lot of things had to go well for them. They had to get some turnovers on defense. They had to create a short field on special teams. They weren't able to do that. Their punter was just awful at times, especially the first half. So all these things played a factor in that game.
Coach Herm Edwards, thanks to McLean Food Service. Coach, you mentioned the Panthers. They're 8-1, but gosh, they're not playing like it right now, are they? They're a hot team at this moment as they head into Seattle.
They are, and I think they're similar. They like running the ball. They got an outstanding defense, especially the last couple of weeks. In Seattle, we know it's built the same way. Both quarterbacks are mobile. This is a game, if you like high scoring, don't watch this game because it's one of those games, if you have little kids, keep them away from TV set because it's going to be, it's going to be one of those games. There's going to be vicious hitting, and it's not going to be pretty. I mean, if you don't like horror movies, this is not one to watch. Turn that other dial to something else. Turn to the Disney Channel. But don't watch this game because this could end up 9-6.
Coach, you just made me want to watch the game so bad. No Le'Veon Bell for Pittsburgh. Was that their ultimate demise? Just too much to overcome, not having him?
Yeah, it really kills them. And Mike Tomlin couldn't say that. But here again, you got to give the Ravens a lot of credit for it. He did a fantastic job. And I thought he did a fantastic job of not allowing them to big pass plays. Their secondary played outstanding. And the secondary going into that was about 24th in pass defense. They'd given up a lot of big plays. They were able to pressure Ben. But Bell was the factor. He wasn't involved in this offense, and that's how important he is to this offense. So now you got the Ravens, and the last thing you really want to probably see is these guys. They have the kryptonite when they have to go play New England in New England. It seems.
Coach Herm Edwards with Armen Levack on 104.5 The Team, and Coach Mike Shanahan met with the Bills on Sunday. Your thoughts on this Mike Shanahan, Jay Cutler reunion, that a team would bring in Mike Shanahan, then try to bring in a quarterback with the head coach? Is sometimes that head coach-quarterback relationship that vital as we're being led to believe it is this week?
Well, I think anytime you have success, all you got to do is pin those two together, and that's going to make you a better coach when you got a good quarterback, a guy that you can trust, a guy that he knows you, and you have his best interest in mind. Now, this is all speculation. This is what I love about this. We all want the answer before we get the test. And I think sometimes patience for me, is always the key in these situations. As much as we think we don't know nothing. And we just throw it out there, and it all sounds good, and everybody pitches in on it, and before you know it, it's the old story. It's a guppy in Tampa, and the time it gets to New York, it's the great white whale. So I would be cautious in trying to figure out all these things. Mike Shanahan's going to interview in a couple places, and he's an excellent football coach.
Hey, Coach, Doug Marrone uses his option, walks away from Buffalo. Were you surprised by that?
Nothing surprises me anymore. I don't get surprised by anything. I mean, it's kind of funny because when coaches are asked to leave, not on their own admission, it's fine. But when coaches leave and they have something in their contract, we get upset. And it's kind of interesting when we look at it that way. And I don't know why Doug Marrone left. I don't have all the information. It's not my information to go to try to figure out. I do know this. He's interviewing for some jobs, obviously, and he's a hot candidate. And, and that's great. But you never like it to end that way because it affects a lot of people. Obviously, it affects the coaching staff. It affects players. But players get over it. It's no different when they fire the coach. The players all say good things about the coach when he got fired, but then, you know what? There's a reason he got fired. I mean, obviously you guys didn't play good enough. And that's all nice, and they get a new coach, and guess what? The next new coach is a good coach. So that's kind of how it works.
Coach Edwards with Armen Levack, thanks to McLean Food Service. And Coach, Doug Marrone was on your staff in New York. That's how you know him so well. He was one of your assistants. Your thoughts on him and the New York Jets and what kind of fit that would be?
Well, I think he's a good football coach, and I think wherever he goes, it'll be a good fit. I mean, he's done a decent job thus far in pro football. and he has more experience now, obviously. New York's it's a different market than anywhere else, and you got to be up to the task to deal with the media in that market, and you better understand it, because if you don't, it'll get you. And so, I think Doug will have some options. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, and we all have to wait and see.
Coach, the Jets also have the general manager position open. When you became the head coach, they hired general manager Terry Bradway first, then brought you in. Does it make more sense to hire the GM first and then the head coach, or does it make a difference?
Well, you'd like that. You'd like the GM, if you hire a new GM, to be in the process of hiring a head coach. But Charlie Casserly and is involved in that, so you don't know, and Ron Wolf, you don't know how they're going about doing that. I don't. You prefer it's that way, but hey, they're the ones making that decision, and both those guys know more football than I do. So whatever decision they decide with the ownership will probably be the right decision.
Coach Herm Edwards, hey, the reports that the Rams could be moving to Los Angeles. Is the NFL better? Is it more enticing if a team is in the number 2 market? Are we missing out that a team's not in L.A. right now?
Well, it would help, obviously. It's about sponsorships. It's about marketing. This league is about marketing itself, and it's a big venue out there. A lot of movie stars live in Los Angeles. I know that. And, they like sports. They haven't had an NFL team for, 25 years now, it seems like. It's even hard for me to say that. It might have even been longer than that. I can't remember. But, yeah, L.A. is going to get a team, and the Rams obviously are one of the original teams that played there. And it'll be interesting to see if they end up going back there.
Well, Coach, I got to tell you, I'm looking at my Twitter feed right now, and you are trending nationally on Twitter because of your opinion of the Dallas Cowboys no call that they had in that game. So I guess congratulations are in order for trending on Twitter?
I don't know anything about Twitter. I don't know. I'm just, you ask me a question, I give you an answer, whether people agree with it or not. The key is there's a lot of things that went on there, and I think we're losing sight of that. That there was a couple situations that everyone's talking about the one play, and there was 2 other things that happened that flags should have been thrown. They weren't thrown at all. So it'd be interesting to see.
Coach, how are you not on Twitter? How are you not a Twitter guy?
I don't do that. Why do I want to be on Twitter?
Hey,
I'm not a follower. Not a follower.
Good stuff, Coach Herm Edwards.
I've been a follower. No.
Brought to you by McLean Food Service. Coach Herm, as always, Happy New Year to you. I hope you had a great holiday season, and we're ready to get back to work with you for the playoffs. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, my friend.